Is there a motion to go into non-public?
I make a motion, we go into non-public.
Well, under, in accordance with RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, C, reputation.
Yes.
I'll second that.
All right, Zach seconds. Mary Ann moves, Zach seconds. Neil, what's your vote?
Aye.
Mary Ann,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Bill, aye. We're in non-public. Mary Ann says aye. Mary Ann seconds.
Second.
It's your birthday after all. So Neil,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Mary Ann, John,
Aye.
Bill, aye. Okay, we're out of non-public.
I have several people waiting. And we also have Joe out in the other room.
Okay.
Go get Joe in there.
You grab Joe, please.
Grab Joe, yeah.
I checked and I didn't smell. I didn't know why you left.
What's that?
Is that a yes? You're gonna go get him?
I thought she was.
Oh.
Hold on, I gotta grab Steve too.
Is he here somewhere?
Yeah,
Well,
he's in here.
Oh.
Waiting on.
Steve.
Well, Steve doesn't need to be here for the board to.
Sure. And actually, you've got another item there to pick two select board members or reps for union negotiations.
Yeah, we're just beginning negotiations again.
Okay,
I would like to participate in that.
and I would as well, actually.
Okay.
Was there anyone else interested, or?
I'm certainly interested, but you two have the experience on the board. I'm happy to have both of you represent us.
Zach, that was a nice way of saying we're old, but that's okay. All right, well, thanks.
Okay. So Bill and John.
All right. Are there any other issues under a work session?
We wanted to talk about the mass proposal questions that Lori, I can't pronounce her last name, Ciechon. She had sent the board some questions that she wanted the board to try to answer. She wanted you to read her email and answer the questions at the public meeting, but.
All right, where?
Should be in there.
Is it in our material, or is
Should
it?
be,
What's her name?
Sid Sean?
Laurel, yeah, Sitchan. Or Chicon. I don't know.
Keep on.
Be in there. Just questions.
Too many emails.
Don't I know it?
Yeah.
Like I haven't gotten anything else done. But that's okay.
All right.
Who is it? You guys aren't finding them?
I didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Well,
No, I found her questions.
Yeah, I did.
So you, Zach, do you want to maybe start? If, I don't know if everybody found them or not, but
Are you thinking?
Are we actually going to read them out loud? Is that, or are we just trying to determine if we are?
I think, Bill, did you wanted to discuss it and see what the questions are and how to answer them?
You know, I was hoping to, you know, well, we can discuss it, or we can answer the questions now, or if need be, because Kathy, I thought you thought that would be good to address the questions in a work session. And I don't know, if it would definitely save time.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say is we've had a few questions come in through email that talk about
Right.
specific wording in the ordinance.
Right.
Obviously, well, obvious to the rest of the board, the ordinance was something that Bill put on the agenda, I believe, and that wording isn't something that we as a group have necessarily discussed yet anyway. So it might sort of generally be valuable for us as a board to discuss the ordinance if there are changes that we should make before
Right.
our first round of input from the public.
But there were tons of questions in all of the emails, or many of the emails. Do we go through and read each one during the public meeting and address them? Or do we, and some weren't from Plymouth, some they didn't identify themselves, some they did. So what happens to those as well?
Or the people that work in Plymouth that might live in Holderness.
Right.
Right, or they shop in
It's a public
Plymouth.
hearing, so they have a right to be heard.
Say that
Whether
again?
It is a public hearing, so they have a right to be heard whether they're residents or not.
We can always
Gotcha.
at least, you know, describe the ground rules so that everyone from the town could first ask questions, then anyone outside of the town could then ask questions, and anyone that wants to repeat or to ask another question can then do so.
Have a time limit on,
Definitely a time limit,
Yeah.
yeah. Like 3 minutes.
we're having a second hearing, right?
Yes, that will, if the board chooses to go through with, if you choose to go forward with the mask ordinance, you will need a second public hearing.
It also feels like at some point we also need to, if we're going to move forward as a board, we need to deliberate on some of the particulars of the language of
Right.
the ordinance itself, which hasn't happened to any extent yet.
Right,
Do we actually ask the people where they're from, or have them tell us where they're from, or is that?
they should give
not
their
germane?
name and what town they're from. They should identify themselves, yes. They should state their name and what town they're from.
Mary Ann, you're locked. Oh, never mind, you're not.
Yeah, I know. I have a terrible connection tonight.
Huh.
I'm getting older. It creaks.
Did you get an answer to your question, Marianne?
No,
Did
I think I heard Kathy say that we'll ask them their name and what town they're from. Is that what you said, Kath?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes,
So part
So
of the
the-
ground rules.
right. The ordinance that was proposed on the website is actually, it came from Nashua. So it's just a draft. So that gives the board a chance to look at it and see what they might want to change, if anything, you know, I mean, revisions that need to be made. I did notice in Nashua's ordinance, it stated that you must wear a mask walking into any restaurant to pick up food or order food. And when you're seated outside, you can remove your mask to eat, but it didn't say anything about removing your mask to eat indoors. So that's one thing that you just might want to touch up, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, they created that ordinance before restaurants had opened
Right.
back up. So
Right.
that might have just been an omission from them not thinking through that use case.
Every restaurant that I've eaten in has required you to enter with a mask, and you can take it off when you eat.
When you sit
Right.
down, yes.
Yeah.
That might be the least of the changes, but
Right,
Yeah, I think 6 and 7 in particular, the one about children under 10, we got a lot of questions about that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we got a lot of questions about the, notes from a medical professional.
Right.
so I sent you another one that I combined Nashua and Newmarket. And I added into it you know, that the school, the SAU 48 actually has the right to set, like, you know, kids that are 6 and up, you know, to wear masks. They don't have to follow our 10 years and up or whatever. You know, they can set their own, because it is in their school system. So they have the right to do that.
They're actually meeting right now. So at 6 o'clock, they're meeting at.
They delayed till
Tomorrow.
They
It's
delayed.
not till tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Are they zooming in tonight then?
Probably.
people are, I know. That was the reason they changed, is people felt there was a conflict, so the school board was nice enough to change it.
The problem is, though, whatever we come up with will differ probably from the the school system, and
Right.
it's unfortunate because it should be pretty much synced. But
Yeah, I mean, ideally, if we pass something, it would be best not to undermine whatever they're going to pass. Like, that would be the key consideration, from my perspective, anyway.
so, Kathy, the one that you sent around was that a mishmash of Nashua and what was it? Not Wyndham. What was the other?
Nashua and Newmarket.
So that was pretty much the same as the Nashua
It
one.
was,
They
yeah.
had a-
But they clarified a couple of things and they added a penalty in there.
I was just going to say,
Right.
they have a penalty on it. We do not.
Yeah.
So,
Do any of these proposals require people to wear a mask while they're driving their vehicles?
No.
No.
haven't seen it.
I've been asked about that.
Imagine if you're like a bus driver, a school bus driver or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a kind of a crowded vehicle.
Yeah, I wonder what PSU has said about their shuttle driver. Do you
Huh.
have any opening plans?
I bet they are. I don't know if for sure, but I bet they are.
Yeah.
They're requiring everybody on campus, so I guess they're not on campus, but
Yeah. It seems to me that our greatest threat is the influx of 4,000 to 5,000 students.
Well, 4,000 to 6,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
6,000.
well, yeah.
And the likelihood that they're coming from all corners of the earth. And,
Right. Good that you said that, and not just the nation. Yeah, the international students.
yeah.
I was kind of hoping to be able to avoid rehashing like either standard or generally accepted information.
Like washing your hands.
Washing your hands, or even the ability for, well, if people want to know why masks, well, it's to stop, the spread of like fomites or nasal secretions or, spit. So, I mean, there already is scientific basis for what we're trying to attempt. And I don't necessarily want to have like a, 7-hour discussion, or no, a 3-hour discussion that Keen had, and maybe going over things that would be available, through CDC or Johns Hopkins. But anyway.
Which does raise one of the other pieces of criticism that we've had, is that this particular ordinance doesn't have a time limit, and it's not specific to COVID.
Bill,
Yeah.
for point of order, you guys are discussing something that you've got a lot of people that are coming in at 6:15 that really aren't hearing what you're saying right now, from Neil's comment to Zach's comment. I don't know how you can do it. I think that
Just to interrupt you, Ann, we as a board have not had any opportunity to deliberate on this ordinance. So I understand that they're not hearing this particular deliberation, but the agenda item is for a public hearing on an ordinance we haven't discussed.
So you shouldn't have a public hearing yet then, Zach, if you've had, this is what you're proposing to your people. I'm sorry, I'm just saying.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that point at all. I
No.
am saying that we haven't discussed this public ordinance, and it does seem strange to have a hearing on language we haven't discussed.
I agree.
That's why tonight is a sense of the meeting, to have the board make those comments, decide where they want to go with it, have the public input, give the public a chance to voice their opinions and concerns and whatnot. So it's a sense of the meeting tonight, really. The public hearing on the ordinance, if it goes forward, will be August 10th. So you'll have a chance to do like revisions to it.
But I
you know.
thought we were talking. I thought what we were talking about right now was the actual procedure.
Yeah, I'd like to get the procedure out,
Yeah,
actually.
procedural.
So,
I thought it was the procedure. So
Well,
who's going to
well-
set the time limit? Who's going to keep the time?
There should be a egg timer on the table back there.
Regular public hearing.
yeah,
Doesn't
Well-
the chair usually do?
sometimes well, I think the chair probably delineates it, or probably the town manager, but I mean, you could set the time for 3 minutes, which is kind of, probably the egg timer does 3 minutes. But you could also, if it's, either non-contentious or not that many people, you can let them speak their mind. And,
I think there's going to be a lot of people.
yeah, so,
Well, we got to keep track of every
Yeah.
person who speaks. And then if they want to come
Right.
up again and get on the roll again and go around, and they could speak again.
yeah, after everyone else has had a chance to speak.
Can
So,
we mute them after? Bill, can we just go ahead and mute them after they speak and then they can? That way we don't have to worry about them coming back in again.
Except for these guys.
Mhm.
Except
We
for
need some
you.
walk-off music like the Academy Awards.
okay. No, I don't think so.
I can hold
Did you,
up.
did you find did you guys find the egg timer?
Yes.
I did.
Okay, or someone might have a phone, perhaps. That would be
Oh, no.
helpful. No, just the egg timer.
Right.
Yeah.
Watch.
The old
I
tools
think
are the
we-
best.
No, I flipped it back over.
I definitely think we need to adhere to the 3 minutes so we're not showing favoritism on either side. It's pretty clear to everybody, even if it's only a few people.
Is there any kind of statute regarding public hearing time limit?
No, sir. Discretion of the chair.
Ooh.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
it says.
Oops, I mean, discretion of the
Oh,
junior
here all
member of the
night.
board.
It is my birthday. I'm just
That's right.
saying.
Discretion goes
birthday.
to the birthday girl.
Don't you want to get to your party? All right, 1 minute it is. So, yeah, it says like 3 to 5 minutes.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Are all the select board on board with this, or is it a mutual thing?
With the hearing, we're all,
Vote.
I,
here is to be said.
Bill, I have a question, and Zach brought it up that, like I say, I got a call a week ago Sunday, and they said, what about this public hearing we're having? And this ordinance that's already drafted up and ready to go. And I had never even seen it. And the fact that we're having a public hearing, I don't think, I thought the board had to meet, look at it, decide if that's what we wanted to put forward, and then we had a public hearing. By calling this a public hearing, it just, like Zach said, he hadn't seen it, gone over it. We haven't discussed it as a board, and it just seems a little premature to be having a public hearing and have a sense of but I don't even think the board has gotten together and discussed any of this.
No, we have not. And so this is going to be like invaluable as far as getting comments from the people regarding this. We did go over the fact of taking the the Nashua ordinance. And because it was tested in the courts,
Right.
found to be rather innocuous and made sense for a city to go forward with something like this.
When,
That this
when
was
did the board decide to use that? Or was that your decision to make?
I don't think it was my decision. What was the, Kathy, what was the sequence of events?
What was the sequence of events? You held two, I know you had two work sessions discussing the possibility of an ordinance, and then when Nashua's went to court and it failed court, it's still not done yet, but it failed being thrown out in court, then, you did say we should bring it forward again. And I know Mary Ann asked if it should be a public hearing, and yes, it should be a public hearing, but tonight again is a sense of the meeting.
John, just to interrupt, John, you were absent. It was the May 26th meeting. We discussed the face mask ordinance, and that conversation effectively ended with us saying that we weren't going to do anything until we had seen the results of the Nashua lawsuit, at which point we would bring it back.
Okay.
Okay, so my question was a two-part question. I only got to play one part of it. So I asked you if the select board was all on board, and you are. So my other question was, I'm like John, I haven't read any of this. I don't live in this town, but I oversee a whole department of people, and I'm not sure if any of the other departments have a say in this, but I think it affects our departments also. And I don't know if anybody spoke to them or if it's even relevant.
So Joe, I appreciate that, but no, the board is not all on top of this, or we're not all in agreement. This is kind of like, new for us as well. So I don't think you could say that we're all in favor of this, or.
All right.
Yeah, I was just to clarify my previous statement, the board was in favor of discussing a face mask ordinance after the Nashua thing was resolved. We hadn't made any sort of decision.
And this is recognized in the document. Any internal practices we have are over and above anything that would be required by the public. So and I think in answer to Joe's question, you have to look at the guidance given by the town manager at the beginning as far as conduct of operations. So that would be, everything that you were told, as far as masking in vehicles and, when you're talking to the public and like that.
Okay. Got 13 minutes.
So can I ask, one of the emails that Kathy, you just put out on a separate discussion was Liza Taylor. Is there anything that we can, around her spectrum and getting access to the internet for her son? I don't know how many people face that, but her in particular.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, we actually referred her to, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's in charge of the Spectrum, the broadband communications, and he actually sent her an email telling her how, who to contact and how she can, connect. I don't know, Jules, do you have?
Yeah, the Spectrum representative is Mike Littlejohn, and he sent us an informational thing saying that he's working with the school district, and there's, I think, a requirement for 50 students to be in need of the service, and then they pursue that. But there's almost nothing that we can do from this side of things.
There's nothing the town can do itself except maybe, get after him. I know he's working on a grant to try to, get them, the communication they need, the broadband.
So the governor actually, is going to expend $50 million to increase broadband for any underserved area, to include like individuals that have made themselves known that they don't have service.
Do we know where DSL extends in town? Because I replied back to her and asked her if she had contacted Consolidated Communications or anybody to see if she could get DSL out there. I mean, the telephone lines definitely run to every house in town. The question, because if she can get DSL, then she might not technically be underserved. She might not be served by Spectrum.
Now, I thought there was a mileage limit, like 1.5 miles, 2 miles or something like that.
There is a mileage limit, but I would expect that most places in town should be within it. I don't know. I don't know how closely we track that kind of thing here.
But there are a lot of I get things going forward that are going to provide broadband to at least those people that don't have it. To include the $50 million from the CARES fund that's now granted out to whoever can install broadband. But I was indicating that Vermont is going forward with $200 million for their state, and they're more advanced with broadband than we are. So 50 million probably is not going to. Drop dead date's going to be December 30th is when everything's going to be lit up supposedly. I guess anticipation that spring might be kind of bad in school, or after Christmas vacation. But
Bill, are you saying million or billion with a B?
nah, million. 50
Million. Thank you.
Yeah. So and
So
also,
when school starts, those folks will still be out of luck.
What do you mean? Because if it's in school, then they'll be not completely out of luck.
It sounds like they were maybe giving people the option in school or online or hybrid. I'm not sure, the school committee hasn't spoke yet, but that's what I imagine.
Okay. Well, I guess that's to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Open up. Actually, Karen McLeod's on.
Yeah.
Is there a question I can answer for you? I don't know what you were talking about because I just came on.
All right. As far as school, is it going to be kind of a mishmash of online and in school, or is it going to be trying to be in school? Or
as far as I know, we've been working closely, the association and administration, and the plan is to present to the school board. The building will be open for full-time teaching, and those families who have indicated so in a survey to administration that they would prefer not to come back to school. There's about 20% so far who are choosing not to come back. And that could be we have been told VLAX, which is a virtual learning program that will be brought down to the elementary school level. But of course, it has to be discussed with the school board, and the school board has to process that maybe tomorrow night.
Okay. All right. Thanks. And also another player is the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative. They're also putting together grants and rolling out broadband itself. Even though it failed in their facility vote, they're still making it a priority. So.
Yeah, they're only starting with 2 very rural towns, though, Leominster and Colebrook or something.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I read in the Record Enterprise.
Bummer. Okay. All right. Anything else in the work session that we should address before we open the meeting up?
Nope.
No.